Back here on our special program as we broadcast from the police headquarters here on East Street, the Paul Farquharson complex, and we are here giving the police support as they celebrate their 178th anniversary. And I'm pleased now to be speaking with the people who are at the zenith of the Royal Bahamas Police Force. I'm talking about the Commissioner of Police, the new Commissioner of Police, Mr. Anthony Ferguson. Mr. Ferguson, it's good to see you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jones. It's a pleasure to be here today.
I have said that I've interviewed every Commissioner of Police since 1973, except the newest one. And so today I have a good record.
I agree with you. It's my pleasure.
How are you enjoying your position? You've only been there now just a matter of months, eh? About 6 months or so?
No, not
all of that?
October 30th.
October,
year, yeah.
Okay.
I am enjoying it very well. Mr. Jones, I believe I feel so good today. It could not have been at a better time than now. I think now really is the right time to be where I am today. And so I am extremely proud to be at the top of this organization. As you have been hearing over the last several weeks, you saw a number of officers from the Royal Bahamas Police Force. That makes me feel good when you can see the officers of the Royal Bahamas Police Force as opposed to just seeing only me. Mm-hmm. It tells you that this organization has the depth and the capacity to really police this Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Members of the Royal Bahamas Police Force is on par with any organization or department in the world. The officers are ready. They are well educated on the level of anybody out there. So I am extremely proud.
What is the complement of the force now?
Yeah. We have just under 3,000 officers, sworn officers, and a complement of reservists and civilian staff. A very good team, and I believe that I inherit a good cadre of officers and civilian staff in this Royal Bahamas Police Force, and we are ready.
Yes. You know, every commissioner of police who I've spoken to over the years would have told me that they didn't have sufficient officers. You don't have sufficient people who are policing the Bahamas, given the archipelagic nature of our country. And I believe that you would agree with that as well, eh?
Well, Jones, Mr. Jones, let me say, I have this view of Sir Robert Peel, who we refer to as the father of policing, which speaks to the public is the police and the police is the public. When you combine that together, you shouldn't have much worries if your public is understanding their role in society, the police is understanding their role in the society. I believe that we ought not be complaining about numbers. Mr. Jones, you are a police officer. As an upstanding citizen, I'm sure if you see something going on out of the way, I'm sure while you may not be able to or want to make an arrest, a citizen arrest, you can always be able to provide the information to the police who will no doubt clear whatever that situation was at the time that you saw.
Yeah, and we also pleased, Commissioner, to have your deputy with us, Mr. Emmerich Seymour, and the last time I saw Mr. Seymour, you were in Grand Bahama.
Yes.
And so you are a resident in New Providence now?
Yes, I am.
It's good to see you here, and congratulations to you both on your appointments. The Grand Bahama situation is in good hands, I'm sure, and you are ably assisting here in New Providence. And I want you to speak, both of you, if you can. There's a view that there is a new culture of violence in our country, and that the police are hard-pressed, Mr. Seymour and Mr. Ferguson, to deal with this new culture of violence, particularly among young people. How do you respond?
Well, let me say, Mr. Jones, in life there are challenges, yeah? We have to be able to respond to those challenges to meet today's need. And the way we are responding to this, we have in the organization, the officers, there's a balance of officers. You have administrators, you have officers who are well trained to be on the streets. You have our community policing officers who would go out and interact with those at-risk people and prevent those persons who are not yet there, to keep them away from that area. And then you have the officers who are on the front line, who know exactly how to deal with those persons who are out of order. So we have your rapid response unit, you have your flying squad unit in the CID, and then you have your mobile division. All of these officers are well trained to tackle the various crime levels that we have here. And then you have your drug enforcement unit, specialized unit that deal specifically with those persons who are involved in drug trafficking, movement wherever they have. You have the intelligence unit who are able to blend in society and be able to seek out the information and intelligence that will allow the operational officers to carry out their duties. So we feel good today that we are able to manage the crime that is actually taking place. We ask that the public join us in making the Bahamas and these communities safe.
Would you say you have crime under control?
We have it at a manageable level.
And what does that mean? At the management, you are managing it how? It is at a manageable level. What does that mean?
Mr. Jones, Bahamian people can feel free to travel about the streets. There are no go zone for the police in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. No go zones. The police can go anywhere in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. There's no persons in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas who have a ownership. No criminal element have an ownership of any area in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas to say that the police cannot go, the police need outside help to help them go into those communities. So any young person, have you been to any of those, you drive around on the weekend and those nightclubs are full with young people.
I haven't been. I'm at home at that time, you know. These young people go out at midnight. That is my time that I'm in bed.
So we go out from time to time and just to see how the communities are doing. And it's amazing, despite what you hear some people say, on any given night on the weekend, particularly on weekends, these nightclubs and other night areas are full to capacity. Going straight into late hours in the morning are full to capacity. So that's an indication that Bahamians are feeling good about themselves, that they can move around. Are there challenges? Yes. And we will endeavor to try to minimize those as much as we possibly can.
So, Commissioner, when you hear and see these advisories coming in, say, from the Americans or the Canadians, given what you know that you are facing and the ability of your officers, how do you react?
Mr. Jones, I am one of those persons who recognize that everybody have an obligation to their country. I am not focused on those things. My focus is to make sure that we do all that we can to make the Bahamas safe, and we will continue to do that. To be following behind what is actually being said, I believe for me and my team, it'll make you unfocused. We're not going to be unfocused on things. We have an obligation to protect the Bahamian people and all of those who visit the shores of our Commonwealth of the Bahamas, and that's what we will continue to do.
Mr. Knowles, from Mr. Seymour, I beg your pardon. Shanta Knowles was with me earlier on, and she is going to return on the program because I believe she is coordinating certain things for you in the month of March. But Mr. Seymour, out of Grand Bahama, how do you describe the policing situation there?
Well, Grand Bahama, is part of the Bahamas, and despite what is said or being perceived, there's one Royal Bahamas Police Force, and of course the same one commissioner, one deputy commissioner now, and so the same processes and procedures that we execute in Grand Bahama we do in Nassau and through the family of islands. Just to lend to what the commissioner was saying, one of the things that I think must be known and be assured of is that the acts of criminality that you see happening is perpetrated by a small group of individuals. You asked the commissioner, and he rightly answered, can the police manage? Yes, we have been doing it. We will continue to do so. He spoke to the whole issue of the officers being trained, and we have a cadre of officers, as he said, who have been exposed regionally, internationally, which have really prepared them to really address all of the issues that are being faced and perpetrated here in the Bahamas, and of criminal nature. And so Grand Bahama, Abaco, Berry Islands, wherever. I think the unique thing with us is we are an archipelagic islands, and of course we are not a one island nation. And so for us, perhaps the challenge may be different or more than perhaps a unique island. However, the Bahamas has demonstrated, and the Commissioner rightly pointed that we have demonstrated that notwithstanding the varied challenges in all of the islands, the police department has risen to the occasion and will continue to do so.
Yeah. Over the many years you've been able to run the Royal Bahamas Police Force extremely well, but there have been officers that you've lost, senior officers, who were in their 50s, I believe, and you wonder how is the police force faring when you would have lost these officers who had a tremendous amount of experience. How do you manage without them?
It boils right down to training, Mr. Jones, preparation. We are sitting here today. I'm head of this organization today. My job really is to identify the next leaders of the organization. And that's what I ought to be doing. We cannot be selfish because we will live here after we leave this organization. And so it's very, very important for me as the leader to ensure that the officers who are here are well trained and that we make the right selection to be able to elevate them to lead this organization, so we will continue to make the Bahamian people proud of the people that are left behind and feeling about themselves that these group of persons are quite capable of doing the job. And that is what you're seeing here today in this policeman. I know you are seeing people in the forefront talking to the Bahamian people about policemen. And you would say, where were these people? A lot of them were always here. Yeah. And they are now given the opportunity that hence you are able to look at it and say, gee, yeah, the depth of the Royal Bahamas Police Force is really vast.
Yes.
And you should feel good.
Well, many years ago, I remember doing a roundtable discussion in this building, and I think you were in charge of the Drug Enforcement Unit at the time. And I didn't foresee at that time that you would be the Commissioner of Police today. And so you are bringing your words very clear in terms of the continuity of the Royal Bahamas Police Force. But talking about the Drug Enforcement Unit, wouldn't you say that most of the problems that we have today with crime and violence really are connected in the main with the presence of drugs in the community?
A good number of the crimes are connected to drugs, but you don't want to just focus or believe that it's only drugs. There's some underlining circumstances that led people to commit crime, and from when you analyze that, then you would get an understanding of the different levels where crime is being launched from. And so that is why we have our intelligence unit who, Mr. Jones, analyze all of these things, the behavior of people, and our forensic area that ties right in and give us a kind of understanding of violent crime. And you can look at a crime scene and be able to determine from the forensics, those persons from there who analyze and interpret what took place in the place, give you an idea of what kind of person you're actually dealing with. So drugs, yeah, but there are other elements that really involved.
Yeah, there's no doubt that we are in a changed society, and Mr. Seymour, the cultural influences that have come to bear on our country from outside the Bahamas, they also have to do with the challenges that you have, eh?
Yeah, undoubtedly, and it speaks to not only, well, I think, and you said it rightly, not only what's happening in the Bahamas, but it seemed to be a worldwide phenomenon. We are, and as you know, but we have our connections with all of our counterparts worldwide. And of course, when you interact with them, they'll be telling you the same issues that are happening here in the Bahamas you find in their countries as well. And so the challenges are not only unique to the Bahamas. It seemed to be a worldwide thing, and that is why in our profession it is so critical, as the Commissioner alluded to, for us to continue to get those training that we have been doing to ensure that we are well prepared to deal and address with all these situations as they occur.
Yeah. Commissioner, as I look around this grand room and I see these huge photographs of the past commissioners on the walls here, each of them probably had something in mind as to what they would wish to do with the force and how they would like to leave the Royal Bahamas Police Force. And some of them served for many, many years. You are perhaps one of the youngest commissioners, isn't that right? To serve? Yes?
Don't forget, Mr. Barnaby came around very early. I think he was 42.
Okay.
Yeah, when he started in his commissionership.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So he left, of course, his mark on the force, as have others. But if you were to think about how you would wish to, what impact and imprint you would like to leave on the Royal Bahamas Police Force, have you given that any thought?
I'm thinking about it every day. Have I yet decided that one central point? Not yet.
Not yet.
But I want to be able to people to remember me as somebody who was able to give them opportunities, open the way, or continue to open the way for them to be able to be a part of the leadership of this organization. There are any number of things that are going on at the very moment. We believe that to have a good workforce, the working environment must be conducive to work. And so I've embarked on ensuring that the working environment for the officers is properly dealt with, to allow them to be able to feel good about themselves coming to work in the morning. I'm sure so the Bahamian people can benefit when they show up at the police station and they would meet a smiling officer but a firm officer who also, behind that smile, is also capable to do his job.
I spoke with the senior assistant commissioner, Mr. Stephen Dane, a while ago, and he was talking about policing in a general way, but spoke to the feedback that you get from young officers. it is no longer, well, you just do what I say, but some officers are now questioning things. And is he suggesting that there's more democracy in terms of running the various departments of the Royal Bahamas Police Force now?
Well, I don't think that's exactly what he's saying, as there were always an open policy that persons, if you're not clear on something, the best thing to do is ask. We should not think of ourselves too high to sit down and explain something to somebody. That may be a good thing, because if you want to know why is it done this way as opposed to that way, I think in a civilized society, you would sit down and you would talk to the person. I believe you get more out of a person who understands.
But a young officer should do as he is told, eh? You follow orders on this force, don't you?
Yes, you do. But this is not a Gestapo force. You know, it's a force where you try to encourage people to do their jobs.
You know, I find that very interesting because if you speak to some of the old timers, they were very strict, and they will tell you that you know, they didn't entertain too many questions and comments from their juniors. Mr. Knowles, Mr. Seymour, isn't that right? When you were coming up, you were the deputy commissioner now. You weren't able to talk back to your seniors, were you?
No, but talk back, you know, see, it's a difference. You know, we are now, we don't want to, and the commissioner rightly said, we don't want to project an image of, you know, we talking down, you do as I say, do. You know, yes, we are a semi-military organization. However, we understand that the young officers themselves have opinions, and of course, we value their opinions. Yeah, and so, whereas we don't want to lose the discipline, the semi-disciplinary position that we still maintain. You know, we still value the opinions of the officers. Yes, we can give him an order and he's obligated to carry it out. Okay, but however, we want to say, yes, we want to hear you, we want to hear exactly what it is you're doing. However, there are some instances where you just give an order, and of course there's no questions asked. However, we want to maintain a level of respect on both sides. That's all it is. Okay, level of respect. You know, and then too, you're talking about, you know, I think we're looking more or less at participative management. As the commissioner said, if you tell an officer something that he doesn't understand, we want to make sure that he understands. So if he buys into what it is you're trying to achieve, then of course you get more participation out of him, and that's the whole process. You know, but it's not that we're losing our disciplinary edge. No, far be it from that. However, we are now we're now entertaining, and of course we want to hear exactly the views. Now, if the views is inconsistent with the way the force should run, of course that's a different story, because the commissioner gives the order, and of course the order is carried out.
Commissioner, I am going to engage some of your other officers, and I know that you are extremely busy. But just before you go, something that came up in recent times about the number of young men who were unfortunately killed by policemen in the course of duty. There was a complaint that there wasn't sufficient information to the public as to what has taken place in these killings, and some people have even accused the police of extrajudicial slayings. How do you respond to that?
Mr. Jones, my response will remain the same as I have indicated. Each time I'm asked the question, Her Majesty's coroner is the duly constituted judicial office who presides over all of these incidents that the police are involved in. It is not for me as the commissioner or no member of the Royal Bahamas Police Force to act as a judge and a jury. I don't think that's the right way to go. Sometimes people would want you to comment on things, but you should not comment on things that is out of your lane. You would find people jumping in somebody's lane this commissioner will not jump in your lane. I'm not a journalist, so I wouldn't jump in your lane. Sometimes people have to allow everybody to participate in their lane, and you'll have a better country, as opposed to somebody speculating or as to what happened. Just wait and allow Her Majesty's coroner in each of those respective cases to do her job.
And when her job is done,
Accept
Results.
the results.
yes. Commissioner, it's always good to speak with you, and I know that you are busy having to run this wonderful establishment that you have here, but it's good to have senior officers like yourselves on a program so that the members of the public can hear your views, indeed hear your voices.
Definitely.
Thank you.
So thank you so very much.
Thank you so
welcome.
much,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Jones.
We're going to take a break here on our program, and we'll come right back.